in the works anyways, of the fact that you reached 1,000,000 miles? And I know from one of your interviews that it's actually more than 1,000,000 miles. Or was it the big 6-0 that brought this on? Or what brought on this album 1,000,000 miles later?
Well, it was kind of a combination of the two things. You know, we've been anticipating our 60th anniversary, and we thought a good idea for a signature song of the album would be, you know, that idea would be in order. And I forget who came up with the title. It might have been Sonny. 1,000,000 Miles Later.
Actually, the title I came up with was 1,000,000 Miles, and as soon as I said it, JP goes, "Hey, 1,000,000 miles later." I went, "That's it."
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, and from there, the writing sort of took a turn toward a focus on our fans who have supported us all these years, and the song is basically about and to our fans. Although some could interpret it as a romantic song as well, which is fine.
Yeah.
Whichever way you want to go.
I mean, it's about relationships. And
we, you know, we actually probably 10 million miles would be, more,
I think so.
more accurate, but we felt 1,000,000 miles later sang a little better. And
10 million doesn't sing as well.
2 million miles.
2,150,037.5 miles later.
There's a lot of diversity with the songs. If I was going to say what sort of your style is there any way to define you guys, or is that part of the defining is that you can't define?
That's a good way to put it, I think.
Yeah, we've been trying to come up with a definition for 60 years, you know, and the fact that the five of us all have different sensibilities as far as genres of music goes. You know, we like pop, rock, country, bluegrass, gospel, rap. We like all kinds of music. And we like to include a little bit of that in you know, in every project we can do, just to see if we can do it. You know, and that has led people to wonder what Exile really is. You know, and I'm not sure that we have a particular format in our music.
And I think when we were putting together the songs for this album, that's one thing. We didn't think, well, this song has to fit in a certain format or that format. If it's a great song, which JP and Sonny and Sharon brought in, let's record it. It doesn't matter what style it is.
Yeah, our rule of thumb is there are no rules.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but, you know, we're happy with it.
It's worked.
You know, people have mentioned through the years that we have a very distinctive vocal sound. So that's part of it, but also the way the five of us have always played together, that gives us a very unique sound also. So it's a combination of that, you know, vocals, musically, how we play together. I think it really sets us apart. Now, what you would call it, I don't know, but it is very Exile, is all I know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, hook up. I know at least some of you were from Richmond, grew up in Richmond, Kentucky. Pretty much everybody.
Yeah. I'm actually the only original member now of all the high school kids that, you know, formed the band in 1963. But Sonny and Marlon and Steve
and Les,
and Les is the last. He's the last guy. He's the member with the least seniority. And he's been here for like 44 years.
Yeah.
79. So 78.
Does he have to carry all of the luggage when you go from one spot to another?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Make him carry the luggage.
It was Dick Clark.
Yeah.
And that he said, you know, he thought you'd done a really good job. And then he came over and said, looked you in the eye and said, boys, you aren't out here to entertain yourself. It's about the people who bought the tickets. never forget your audience. So when you were just talking about that, maybe put that in a little bit of perspective. And I mean, I'm guessing you all took that to heart when Dick Clark said that.
Yeah, we did. We never forgot that. You know, it made a whole lot of sense, especially coming from someone who is so successful in the business.
Yeah.
And so very well respected. We did one of his package shows. Actually, we did several tours of his package shows. These shows were called the Dick Clark Caravan of Stars, and they were in the '60s. And our job on the show was to open the show and do about 15 minutes. And then when the single acts on the package show were introduced, we would be their backup band. And there were usually 2 or 3 of them, the people like B.J. Thomas, you know, in his early career, Freddie Cannon, Tommy Rowe, Brian Hyland. These are names that people might not be very familiar with, but they were very, very significant in their day.
Mm-hmm.
And then after all that was finished, then the headline act would come on. And in several cases, it was Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our first taste of the big time, really. That was the first time we played shows in arenas that were packed to the rafters, usually with about 90% screaming teenage girls. But no, we never forgot that. You know, he made us realize that it's not, we're not there for our own particular enjoyment and fulfillment musically. We're there to give all of those people who paid hard-earned money to get in that seat. We're there for them.
Got an upcoming documentary. What can you tell me about that?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Well, KET, Kentucky Educational Television, has opted to do a documentary on the band, 60 years of the band. So we have all individually, plus some of the older past members have done interviews, you know. We also recorded a concert that we played November 4th in Renfro Valley, Kentucky. That will be a part of the documentary, and probably later on it'll be released by itself, you know, as an addition to the documentary, I guess, the full concert.
Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting to have such a respected entity like KET in public television doing this and telling the story of the band, you know. I mean, and it's not like a tell-all, that kind of a thing, but it's just, you know, kind of the history, of course, and the fact that how we are all a family. I mean, you know, these guys, I mean, we are together more. We have been together more in a lot of cases.
A lot of families, yeah.
You know,
our real families.
So, you know, we're definitely family. I mean, and our wives, our kids, we know, like grandkids. So it's really quite amazing that they're going to do this, and it'll be released, I think, March of next year.
Yeah,
it'll air for the first time.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 hours. The documentary, the interview part of it is going to be 1 hour, and then the live concert is going to be 1 hour as well.
Well, you all mentioned, you know, how long you've known each other and worked together, and that's one thing. I mean, I was going to ask you, what is the key? What's the key of getting along together for 60 years, and is it harder or easier than being married that time?
Well, we don't have any choice because we don't have any other job skills. So we got to stick together, you know. No, I think we really got lucky in that we have 5 people who all respect each other, and that goes a long way. And I think that in itself is the, if there's a secret to our longevity, I think that's it.
Sure.
You know, as each member was added to the band through the years, musicianship is important, but also how well you get along with other people is just as important. You know, so we all sort of, I guess, picked personalities that we, you know, got along with each other through the years, because if you couldn't get along with anyone, we didn't want you in the band because you spend a lot of time together.
Yeah,
we had one band member that lasted one show.
That's happened.
He lasted one show. His rehearsals were so great. We were so excited. And we did this one show with him, and he just lost his mind on stage and was jumping around doing somersaults and trying to steal a show away from all of us. We said, out of here.
How do you keep your voices going? I would think that would be tough decade after decade.
It is. I mean, I think I think we're lucky in the fact that genetically somehow we're able to continue on and sing the way we do. I mean, we've had to lower keys in some cases. I mean, that just comes as part of the deal, but we've been really fortunate, to take care of ourselves well enough that we can sing the way we do.
Everybody's really healthy. We knock on wood.
Yeah.
And we all work at it. I mean, all of us work out it, every day. And just at a certain point, we figured out you have to take care of yourself.
Oh my God.
To keep up the schedule, because this year is our busiest year we've had in decades. So you have to be in good shape to be able to do all those shows.
Yeah.
But our mantra leading up to the 60 years was, we're going for 60. That was their mantra.
Yep.
And now our mantra is like going for 61. Going for 60 in 6 months.
We kind of slowed that down a little bit.
No, but seriously, I mean, is there any limits to how long you all think you'll be alive and vital band?
Well, obviously, nobody knows that, of course, but I mean, collectively, we are tied together, of course, by our collective health. I mean, that's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
And like we just said, we try to be as healthy as we can be. And, right now, nobody has put out on the table an end date, an expiration date.
Right.
And I think we just have to, right now, play it by ear. We got things lining up for next year, and I think everybody's excited about that. We'll see how that goes, and just go accordingly.
We don't talk about the end.
Yeah.
We talk about what's the next thing in front of us.
I mean,
exactly.
So,
I think I speak for everybody. I mean, I love what I do. We love what we do, and it really is a cool job to come out on stage and not just to entertain people, but to see people having a blast, a great time.
Yeah,
smiling and singing. I mean, that's an amazing thing to watch, and to be a part of.
You don't just retire from something you love doing.
My God, no.
Unless your health dictates.
Yeah, exactly.
Think back, especially you, JP, since you were the kid in Richmond. Put in perspective, who'd have thought?
Our main thing from day one was, you mean, are they actually going to pay us tonight? How are they? Well, they're going to pass a hat around. I mean, that was that, and I hope we get to meet some girls.
Sure, yeah.
And I hope we, get to make a little pocket change.
Yeah.
That was what was in front of us, and that's really all we cared about.
Kiss You All Over came about because you all are songwriters, but you all didn't actually write that song.
No.
If we had it, we'd be on a yacht in Tahiti right now. If we had done that one.
Our former producer, Mike Chapman, and his songwriting partner, Nikki Chin, wrote the song.
Okay, but that was a tie. It was a producer for you at the time.
Yeah, Mike. And we did, I think, 4 pop albums with Mike. We learned so much from Mike Chapman, because he was, I don't throw out the term genius, but he was darn close to it. He was an amazing songwriter. He was an amazing producer. And we learned a lot from him, both as songwriting and in the studio. Australian by birth, but he moved to England, to the UK. And that's where he met his songwriting partner, Nikki Chin. And they had huge success in Europe, in the UK and in Europe, with acts that they produced and wrote for. Huge success. And that's one of the reasons he wanted to come to America, to try to, break into the US market.
Concessions that you've had to make for your age?
For example, we limit like a number of shows we'll do in a row. We've been discussing that over last year. Like we don't want to do more than 3 nights in a row because it just wears you out. But a few things like that, but not a lot. Really.
We don't drink and party anymore. That's
Yeah.
long gone.
Yeah.
And that's a big concession.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if you're off the non-performance life is pretty boring. You were talking about how how you take care of yourselves and everything.
Yeah, I'll tell you something funny. I think it was this year, or maybe it was last year, but we were all sitting on the bus, and we had we've got satellite TV, so we're watching the TV, and we realized at one point that all of us were watching House and Garden TV.
and watch it at home.
That's what is happening. We're all milking cookies and watching HGTV.
Yeah. Yeah. And now the drugs we discuss is usually Tylenol.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of innovative things. Maybe
talk
about that a little bit. What you're most proud of with the band?
Oh gosh.
Well, one thing, I don't know if it's innovative, but we're members of the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And they're that's a pretty select group of musicians and entertainers. So personally, that's one thing I'm most proud of.
Me too. I'm a second generation member. My mom's also a member. So proud of that.
I mean, I'm proud of what we have accomplished musically. That we've got a good body of work that I think we're all very proud of, and the fact that we want to continue to be creative. I mean, we're going to play the hits as long as we can play them. There's no doubt about it. But to keep moving forward, and like Clint Eastwood said, don't let the old man in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Just keep moving forward. Keep being creative.
We stay very curious.
Yeah.
And when that stops, I think it's time to hang it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
People, December 30th at the Mint.
That
are watching y'all. It'll be almost all original material, right? Do y'all do any covers?
Well, we do.
We just happen to. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Tell them.
Well, as songwriters, we've had hits by other artists.
Yes. Yes.
And a lot of different genres, but this particular medley that we do is a 5-song medley of country artists that have had #1 records with songs that we wrote.
So it's a cover of your songs, basically.
Yeah, it's a cover of our song covering them, whatever you want to put it. But it's there's a Diamond Rio.
I love that song. If you're talking about a Beautiful Mess.
Yeah.
Sonny,
and he also wrote When She Cries, Restless Heart. Les wrote It Ain't Easy Being Easy, Janie Pricky.
Of course, he wrote Take Me Down to the Closer You Get for Alabama.
Yeah.
Those 2 monsters.
Speaking of it, it kind of read. It seems like Alabama, they had these, #1 hits with your material, and that encouraged you all to cross over to.
Yes,
it had a
very hard.
Yeah,
sure did.
But to get back to your question, every song that we'll be doing in the show, I think the audience will know probably every song we do.
Yeah,
it's either one of our hits or a hit that our guys have written for other artists.
There's one song we do, 16 Tons. It's the old Tennessee Ernie Ford hit from the 50s that we have reworked and do our own style version of it. And it's actually on a Million Miles Later album.
Yeah.
We do that. So that's a cover song too.
Yeah. Well, and we do actually, if we get, which we hope we do get an encore, we have worked out a series of songs, about 7 tunes that JP introduces, from some of the favorite acts that we've toured with through the years.
Oh, fun.
Going all the way back to the 60s when we toured, when they were out with the Clark Caravan of Stars. So we do a bunch of covers of some of our favorite songs from these artists that we've worked with.
Yeah, we do Aerosmith, Fleetwood Mac, Doobie Brothers, Merle Haggard, George Jones, and the Rascals, and Roy Orbison.
Yeah.
We worked with those people.
Yeah.
So
as an encore.
On our Million Miles Later project, like JP was saying, one of the songs, the only cover song is 16 Tons that we do. An original version the way we do it. We also wrote a gospel song, believe it or not, called Down in Cold Water, that's included on A Million Miles Later. And we've got our dear friends, the Isaacs, if folks know who they are, they're incredible.
Mm-hmm.
The Isaacs singing with us on that song, which will be released sometime in 2024 on, in the Christian
In the
market.
gospel market, yeah, exactly.
And it's we're really proud of that too. It's amazing.